beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is your host, Jose Galison. This is the morning dump. Sorry if I messed that up. Sorry, some of the sounds coming back weird for me all of a sudden. Do I sound good to you, okay, to you guys right now? Sorry, I completely fumbled the intro, but I'm just hearing the reverb. Sounds funny on my end. But hey, let me know if it sounds good. But yes, this is the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. It's October 14th, Tuesday morning. It is the first dump of the week. We did not do one yesterday. I am sorry. I had to go house shopping. I think I told you guys this before, but I've been in the process for months of doing like a kitchen renovation because we had some sort of damage that we had to fix. But that was forever ago, and we just been putting off doing things just because we've been so fucking busy. So we finally went granite countertop shopping. So that's why I wasn't here with you guys yesterday. Looked at some cool fucking rocks, picked out a few that we seem to like that we'll probably go with. But whatever, boring domesticated stuff. But I'm here with you guys today, so we have a lot to catch up on. We'll go ahead and do our normal intro fun videos. Let me make sure no one's saying anything weird about a little low. Okay, so we're getting a little low on the audio. Let me bring it up a little bit. Is that better? Does that sound better to you? Brought the audio up a little bit. But yeah, we have some videos to start the morning off with, which is what I like to do, just to kind of a couple little fun videos or stories. I think I actually have a story to start off with today. I just thought this was particularly kind of funny. And this is actually being, I don't know if I'd say reported. It's just a tweet from Brian Krasenstein, who's, I don't know, whatever. He's insufferable. But this is particularly funny. I guess he was saying that I guess Trump posted about, which to be fair, I guess I probably could have found the original Trump post here, but whatever. This is the one I happened to see, the Krasenstein. I guess he took one of Trump's posts where Trump posted about his recent featuring on Time magazine. You can see the photo of him here. It's kind of like a from the bottom looking up type photo from under his chin for the audio folks. And the angle makes it so that with his thin, wispy hair, some of it's like basically almost translucent. So it makes it all the more apparent how little hair he's rocking. And so it kind of almost gives him this weird, wispy halo type look. I don't know. I could see why he would think it's unsightly, but I just thought it was funny that this is what he had to say about it. He said, Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair, and that had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one, really weird. I never really liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing, and why? I just thought it was funny that, hey, this is very Trump. I know there's not even really any substantive to say about there. I just thought it's funny that they wrote like a fluff piece about him in Time. I mean, I haven't read it, but I mean, if he's saying it was nice, it probably was nice. I would assume probably focused on a lot of the peace deal type stuff. And I just thought it's funny that, of course, the takeaway Trump gets from that is they made me look bad. In other news on the capturing of our elected leaders, here is Mike Huckabee a slap in the bass right here. Here is a Sweet Home Alabama rendition being performed over in Israel, I believe. This is, I think, some sort of I know, some sort of event they did to kind of garner relation use in Israel, but I don't know. We could enjoy this sweet rendition of Sweet Home Alabama as Sweet Home Yerushalayim.
Just 2 days and we are through. Then we start from the beginning. Hashem's holy words begin anew. We all have come to help Hatzalah, and we want to help it thrive. Based right here in God's holy city. Throughout this land, it's saving lives. Sweet home, Yerushalayim. Yeah! Where God's words ring so true. Sweet home, Yerushalayim. Lord, I'm coming home to you. Well, friends and friends don't think it's Jewish. The United Nations call us crooks. But Donald Trump claims it's all Israel, just as it says in all the holy books.
Actually, it's funny. I was about to release you guys, and then there comes the thing to the end of it. It was the end of the clip. I'm sorry. I took a moment to take. I let that sit a little too long. I'm sorry I did that to you. But boy, that was something I had to watch this morning, so do you. Now, this one might be a little bit more fun, although this is a little bit cringe, but man, I love it. I enjoy this. A little bit in the longer end, but let's watch Glenn Beck getting utterly destroyed by college kids, and my oh my, how the turntables turn, and maybe the Jays wish they hadn't taken that fateful shot that one September morning, right about now. Because funny enough, it seemed like when this all started, the big worry, the big concern here was that we're going to have Charlie was getting ready to go on this tour and getting ready to go super mega based, all for anti-Israel. He's going to, or if he didn't, he was going to be completely trashed by these students, like one way or the other. The message was happening. Well. If you are conspiratorial, you think the Jays did something there, well, it completely backfired, because now instead of just getting Charlie on the road, essentially being subjected to this, now you're getting a rigmarole of the who's who of the conservative talkers, essentially getting this treatment one by one. So here's kind of a nice longer supercut of the Glenn Beck one. I'm not entirely sure if I'll subject you to all of this, but it is delightful. I've already watched this. So I hope you guys enjoy this as well. I sure as hell did.
One question I have for you, Glenn, is a lot of young American and conservatives are starting to notice that Israel has an overwhelming lobby over the United States government, and we have unconditionally supported them. We have fought their wars in the Middle East. Bibi Netanyahu came to our Congress in the 90s, told us a list of countries that we need to take out. Some were Syria, Iraq, Iran, Libya, etc. Through those wars, we have lost trillions of dollars. We have lost American servicemen. And the worst part I think about it is the fact that millions of refugees are coming to the Western world through America and Europe, are degrading our cities, destroying our Western values. The U.S.
Can I wait? If you have more, let me just, because that's a long list and I have a very short attention span. So let me just answer some of those here, and then you can continue your encyclopedia of questions, and I appreciate it. Let's see.
FYI, I am turning up the speed a little bit before anyone. I know some people might interpret, the speed or whatever. Just letting you know, I am turning the speed up.
Israel has a lobby, yes. And you know who has a bigger lobby all around the world? The United States of America. It is in each country's best interest to lobby. Don't blame Israel. Blame our own politicians if they act upon it outside of the United States' interest. Because I can tell you, we're lobbying everybody else. And they will...
No one's clapping. No one's clapping.
Israel first. It's an easy question. Start with America
Charlie was starting to notice about the Israel lobby.
Could I answer my question? Could I answer the question, please? First of all, I'm an American first and always. But the reason we have refugees all around the world is not Israel. It is a global system of people trying to take down the West. They are trying to just hold your peace for a minute. This is why I said, Shirley, I can't do this. What is happening is we have Islamists occupying our countries. The next war that you will face, you know what the first foreign war was? Against the Barbary pirates. They were the Islamic pirates, okay? Jefferson, when he ended that war, because nobody had the stomach for it, he said, I gotta warn you, everyone should read the Quran. He actually had I have a copy of it, printed Quran, printed for Americans to read. He didn't put out little teeny clips. He wanted every American to read the Quran. He said, because I'm telling you now, this is our first foreign war. But if we don't pay attention, I guarantee it will be our last foreign war. That is coming, whether you like it or not. That is a plan well laid out. And yes, George Soros is a big part of it. I was the man who taught America about George Soros. One last thing. Here's my problem with this whole thing. Is it okay to set babies on fire? Is it okay to rape babies? Is it okay to kill people and have glee? Hear me out. Oh, dear God. Dear God Almighty. I will pray for you. Where was I? I don't have a problem with people saying, I have a problem with Israel. Because I'm not fighting Israel's wars. I don't want to fight Israel's war. I don't want to supply troops or arms. You can buy it. We'll sell it to you. But we're not going to fight your war. That's your war. But I believe Israel has a right to exist. I believe Jews have a right to live and not be hunted down. I know that
I'm sorry, but if you're selling arms to someone you know is murdering people, yeah, I think it's on you to not sell to them. I do think that's immoral.
History of the Middle East, they've been going through this forever. And even if we have a peace deal, I got news for you, gang, it's going to come undone at some point anyway. We're going to be facing the same thing over and over and over again because that's what it says in the Bible. It's going to happen. It's been going on for thousands of years. So I have no problem with you not liking what Israel is doing because I can understand it. I'm not asking for support on that. I am asking that you recognize that you are dealing with evil when you're talking about Hamas, not the Palestinian people, Hamas.
Really trying to make that Arab hating thing happen, which, okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Arabs necessarily either. But this, this broad generalization of all things Arab, all things Muslim, which, I mean, they've been doing that since I was a little kid. I remember this whole, like, Islamic push, tied into 9/11 fervor. They're gonna, come in and take over Sharia law, this and that. Which there's something to that, with immigration and refugees and stuff. But ironically, the advocating for Israel creates more of that. But let's keep going.
All right, so Israel has lobbies for all the countries around the world. They have lobbies for New Zealand, England, France. No Muslim has any lobbies. Another thing, you're talking about the stuff they don't teach at school. You're talking about one thing they don't teach in school? They don't teach about the USS Liberty, where Israel literally came, blew up an American ship because they want us to get in their war with Egypt, and they don't teach that in school. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. Guys, let me leave you on this because I'd like to turn this around so you believe me. It says, please wrap this up. I'll take one more question, but let me just say this. We must not divide. We must not divide ourselves. We cannot divide. I don't care if you like Israel. I really don't. Please recognize there is good and there is evil. I'm not saying the Jews are good or anything. You don't have to believe any of that. I do, but you don't have to. But recognize evil when you see evil. And what is happening with Islamists is evil. It is. Beyond that, let's just not divide ourselves. We need everyone on deck. Everyone. Last question.
Hey, sir, it's an honor. I have family that have been very long-time listeners of yours, and it's just crazy that you're here, And I was going to come up here and ask you about Columbus Day and renaming it to Indigenous Peoples Day, but after that conversation, I just want to ask you, I completely agree with you that there's a ton of Islamist evil in the world, and they are a bigger enemy to the United States than Israel will ever will be. But I have a question. Why is there this societal taboo around criticisms of Israel?
You're standing here in a theater voicing this. Nobody's going to arrest you. Nobody's going to say anything. I'm going to answer you. We're having a great conversation. Where is the taboo?
The taboo is, for example, AIPAC doesn't have to register as a foreign lobby, but like the Australia lobby does. And it just
that should be changed. That should be corrected. Look, I am not going to say Israel should have any special privileges. None. Everyone should play by the rules. Exactly the same rules. Period. If they're not, that should be corrected. But let's correct those things. Let's not talk about snipers behind Charlie.
All right, let's get into good morning. Let's say good morning to everyone. Let's check in. Good morning, Evan. Good morning. Good morning. He says gay. Yeah, okay. All right. Good morning, King David. Good morning. Good morning. And by the way, you were the first, Evan, so congrats to you for being first. Good morning, Base Kothar. Said hello, super gay friends. Oh, I forgot to do the a customary what you're supposed to do. I got thrown off by the audio. You are supposed, just so you guys know, for public speaking thing, this is standard. You are supposed to, start oh, what are we going to be talking about today? Today, if you don't in the first few minutes know what you're going to be talking about that episode, you failed. So I failed. My bad. We're going to be talking about Candace Kirk's craziness, or Candace's Kirk craziness, and yeah, I put craziness on there because I don't necessarily characterize it as craziness. We're going to be kind of essentially catching up with some of the stuff over the weekend that Candace has been dropping that I haven't really been able to follow up on myself. I have seen people murmuring about it, going, oh, she's gone off the rails, she's lost her mind. So that's why I titled it as such. A little bit of clickbait, I guess, kind of as if I'm leaning into to her being a loon, which I don't know. Who knows? I'm open to it. Maybe she is a loon. I did call one broad crazy or dumb bitch last episode, and some of you guys got a little upset about that. I actually meant to have that prepared to respond to that one of those comments today, and maybe even go down a rabbit hole there. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow, because I actually was going to use it as a jumping off point for some segments for Kirk related stuff, again, some of the real niches of some of the weird stuff. But whatever, we'll come back to that later. Just know that I did hear you, if you're out there. I know some of you were a little bit like, well, why are you being so mean to this broad? Because there was that one broad who had that one TikTok video I played, and she was like, she just showed him going, oh, and then the next minute you see the Kirk getting shot, and, oh, and I just made fun of it, being like, that's dumb. And then some people point out, well, here's this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You're like, okay, well, if you add that to this, now it becomes more of a thing. I was just making fun of that, literally just connecting the two dots of, here is man, he makes this reaction, here's another anecdotal example of him making this one. These are also just two cuts next to each other. I don't really know. These could be from whenever times. I don't know how far apart they are. I know nothing. I just know two separate instances of a similar thing happening and then jumping from thing to thing. Now, if you had other instances, you have other situations, this guy's got other glowiness about him, different story, which maybe we'll get into that in a later day in this week or something, get into some of the weird characters forming around this story. We'll get into a little bit of that today, but not particularly into that one. Also, Fumbling of the Antichrist is, I'm calling that segment. That's going to be kind of Peter Thiel and kind of I guess his establishment friends and kind of the scam they seem to be running, whether you want to believe it's real or not. This whole Antichrist, whatever the hell they're trying to run. And I think it's fumbling. I think it's fumbling hard. And then also finishing off on Homo Theater, which is kind of, I don't know, let's be real, all of this is Homo Theater, but in particular, just really honing in on some Antifa stuff and just making fun of those homo influencers just because it's fun to do. Figured I've been sitting on some stuff for a while. Figured maybe we'd hop into that. But all right, guys, let's keep on with the good mornings. I just realized I fucked up. My bad. I'll work on being a better presenter of ideas in the future for you guys. Hit that thumbs up, says Base Kothar. Good morning, Eclipse Collective. Good morning, good morning, says BB looks good on that toilet. Yeah, that's right. Just pretend these are toilets from now on, because AI engines don't let you show people sitting on toilets for some reason, because the man just wants to control you. Good morning, Tom33. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Che Coho, saying what's up to the best news channel. Well, thank you. Good morning, Fuck Bud. I think that's your name. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Daz W. Good morning, Queen Calned says it smells like up dog up in here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Uncle Ted. Have I seen the Gavin versus Fedtez Fed off? Fedtez. Who's Fedtez? Cortez? Is it AOC? Maybe? Was that what the Fedtez is? I don't know what a Fedtez is. I don't think I've seen. Maybe I have. It's not ringing a bell though. Good morning, Marnamat. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Uncle Ted. Oh, I think I already said good morning to you. Good morning, Alien Big Cat. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chadhead. Good morning. It says King David says, I timestamped that screech from last night's show. I never laughed so hard. You had that look of what the fuck was that? And dude's like, sorry. I don't even remember what the hell the screech was from the other day. Oh yeah, actually no, I do remember. It was an episode from before where he had some weird sound in his background, scared the shit out of me. Yeah. Good morning, Justin Valentine, saying disappear my hair. I might try that one someday, says Justin Valentine. I guess he's another bald king, just like Trumpy boy. Good morning, Mulgara, says my Hoppa books arrive tomorrow. Based, hell yeah, dude. Good morning, Demon Hunter Bear. Good morning, saying we have achieved Pete Boomer cringe. Good morning, Comment Mama. Good morning. Let me see. I love epic Boomer Jew movements of the Eclipse Collective. They are kind of like they're cringe, but not like in a overly like it's like I've come to terms with Boomer cringe, if that makes sense. It's no longer even in cringe. It's just like it's almost enjoyable. You're like, it's like, I guess almost to the level of like cat videos. I get what you mean, because you are like, look at this ridiculousness. It's almost adorable. You're like, look at them. It's like when your grandma says the N-word. You're like, oh, that's adorable. Like, come on. Like it's like that kind of thing. Yeah, that's where it's at now, I think. Good morning, Robin. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Gautis. Good morning. Good morning, Fat Cat. Good morning, Eris Legacy. Who else we got in here? Good morning, everybody. Uncle Ted says, why would Israel kill their top shill and kneecap their own organization? Kirk was revenge for Yahoo running around giving gold pagers, which I've heard that theory before. I do like that one. It's a fun one. It's just to think that that it was the Trump administration off him just because of the fact BB's been running around talking shit. You're like, well, guess what? You're going to look really fucking stupid when we Fed jacket the fuck out of you for fucking Kirk's death. I don't know. I guess that could be the case. I kind of doubt it. And I'm just as open to it as Israel doing it. I just think Israel's dumb enough to do that. And with some of the stuff that's coming out, it looks like, well, I know everyone's like, oh, like as if you're like sucking his dick if you're like, oh, think he's going to turn. I mean, as we just watched 8 minutes of fucking Glenn Beck getting a friggin' struggle session by college kids, yeah, I don't think it's that crazy to think Kirk was probably getting ready to change position. I think everyone's getting ready to change position if they want to continue to have a occupation, pretty much. So, good morning, Ominous Obelisk says, what's up, Steel Next? What's up? Give me that $7,000. Israel has a right to defend itself. Just reminding you guys that. Completely unrelated. Good morning, JMS. Good morning. Let me see. Who else we got here? Good morning, Bug Fights. Good to see you. Catching up on the chat. Oh, good morning, Fire Pixie. I think that's the first time seeing you in here. Good morning. Good morning, Jorge Glockington. This dude talking is a tool. Well, fuck you. What do you do? What? No, I'm just kidding. I'm hoping you're referring to some video from earlier and not me. Good morning, Shannon. Good morning, Noname. Good morning, Mustache. Good morning. Good morning, Marty McFly. This is early day for Jose. No, we are just on time. Good morning, AB. Good morning, Bobo. Good morning. Says the kids have a fall broke, so everyone's off. All I can do is drop in for a few. Hey, well, we're glad to have you here. Good morning, everyone. Are we all... Gerald, I think it's the first I'm seeing you. Good morning. I think we're all caught up now. Good morning to everyone. All right, let's get into some foreign policy talk. Let's get into... let's start off with some clips. Let's see. Let's watch this one. Let's start. Oh, this is particularly in regards to this deal, and I know we've talked about like all of this deal seemingly is being held up on the word of Trump, preventing, since essentially Hamas, I believe, has already essentially given up all their leverage. Which we'll get into that a little bit more. in a few. But let's see Trump, how he's saying, how they're going to deal with this, essentially him being the one guy. What kind of tough talk does he have for us now?
And what guarantees do you give Hamas to persuade them that Israel will restart the bombing campaign once the hostages have been exchanged?
What did I do with respect to them? Well, I spoke a little bit tough, and that's what would happen. I mean, you have to speak tough. That's a tough world. That's a tough, as they say, neighborhood. And they're tough people. They're very tough people, and they're smart people. They're good negotiators. They have a lot of things going. They put that to good use. They're going to be very, very successful. But they knew the retribution would be tremendous, unsustainable. It would have been unsustainable. It would have been complete obliteration, and they didn't want that. And nobody wants it at this point. They want to get on with rebuilding the entire Middle East. It's not only Gaza; it's going to be the entire Middle East. They're going to be able to live in peace. Now we have some little hot spots, but they're very small. The ones I'm talking about. They're very small. They'll be very easy to put out. Those fires are going to be put out very quickly.
All right, so just to recap that was someone asking him about the guarantees that Israel won't bomb, and he got, I spoke a little bit tough. And then something about knowing retribution would be tremendous, but I think he's referring to Hamas and that specific part of it too. So even then the tough talk was more reserved for Hamas, knowing, hey, they don't want to be completely destroyed. So anyone surprised? I'm not particularly, but hey, at least it seems a little bit tougher talk than the last clip was just kind of like, we'll see. All right, here's him kind of announcing him getting ready to come. This is on Friday. This is just kind of setting the stage for him. Obviously, today's Tuesday, so obviously he has come. But let's watch this clip.
He wanted it. It's been a long time. He's been fighting a long time. He's been fighting hard. He wanted it. It's a great deal for Israel, but it's a great deal for everybody, for Arabs, for Muslims, for everybody, for the world. And as you know, on Monday, the hostages come back. They're getting them now. They're getting them now. They're in some pretty rough places under earth. They're in some pretty rough places where only a few people know where they are, in some cases. So they're getting them, and they're also getting the bodies, approximately 28 bodies, and some of those bodies are being unearthed right now as we speak. They're working on it right now as we speak. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. No, he was very happy with it, and I can tell you that I saw Israel dancing in the street. They were dancing in
wouldn't be the first time.
Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE and many countries. I saw Egypt. They were dancing. I'll be going to Israel. I'll be speaking at the Knesset. I think early on, and then I'm also going to Egypt. They were terrific, but all of the countries were great. Indonesia was great. Jordan was great. They were all great. Everybody wants this deal to happen.
All right, cool. So that's him getting ready, announcing his getting ready to go there. How he's getting ready to go over to Egypt and all that. Well, now he is in Egypt. So yesterday, the 13th, Trump and the leaders of Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar signed a document on the Gaza ceasefire deal during a summit held in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. It's going to hold up, Trump said as he signed the document. According to a release from the White House, the document was a declaration that stated the signatories welcome the implementation by all parties to the Trump peace agreement. The declaration includes several platitudes about committing to a peace deal, but it does not say how a long-term ceasefire will be implemented, as many details of the agreement still need to be worked out in negotiations between Israel and Hamas. We support and stand behind President Trump's sincere efforts to end the war in Gaza and bring lasting peace to the Middle East, the declaration says. Together, we will implement this agreement in a manner that ensures peace, security, stability, and opportunity for all peoples in the region, including both Palestinians and Israelis. The signing ceremony came after Hamas released all 20 living Israeli captives. So yes, from what I said earlier, they've given up all their living captives, and Israel freed nearly 2,000 Palestinians, including about 250 who were serving sentences and 1,700 who were captured in Gaza and held without charges. So you'll hear a lot about that, probably. A lot of people kind of going back and forth about how some of the, comparing and contrasting some of the supposed hardened criminals of Hamas that got released and then compared to, some of the innocents of the Israelis But, keep in mind, a lot of these were held without charges. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there were some that did actually do some awful stuff. But, yeah, it's a mixed bag. So far, Hamas has released 4 out of 28 of the bodies of Israelis who have died in captivity, and Israel is accusing the group of not fulfilling its commitments. So this is the closest thing you could say that Hamas has to leverage this point is dead bodies, which I don't feel like that probably goes too far. But, apparently, before the deal was signed, Hamas said that it may not be able to locate all of them, which I guess it makes sense for bodies. While there are signs that Israel may restart its genocidal campaign, Trump's message in Egypt and in his address to Israeli Knesset earlier in the day was that the war was over. More than 20 world leaders attended the summit in Egypt, but Israel and Hamas were not represented. Yeah, which I had heard about that the day before. That was, they were talking about, oh no, they're not going to be there. Although I think that was supposed to be that way. So Trump planned to invite Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. The plan was aborted after Turkish president said he wouldn't attend if the Israeli leader was there. Okay, well, there you go. So I think this is more for the signatories, so they didn't really need to be there. That's more for Israel, or not Israel, but for Egypt, us, and I believe Qatar. During the summit, Trump told reporters that many of the leaders who attended wanted to join the so-called Board of Peace, a body Trump will chair to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza. He also said that the reconstruction hinges on Gaza's demilitarization. We've all agreed that supporting Gaza must be done to lift up the people themselves, but we don't want to fund anything having to do with the bloodshed, hatred, or terror, as has happened in the past, Trump said. We've also agreed that Gaza's reconstruction requires that it be demilitarized, and the new honest civilian police force must be allowed to create safe conditions for the people in Gaza. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said that the Gaza ceasefire deal represents the last chance for peace in the region. Egypt has been pushing the U.S. to deploy troops to Gaza as part of a peacekeeping force, something U.S. military officials have said wouldn't happen, although the U.S. has sent about 200 troops to monitor the ceasefire. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badir Abdelati told the Associated Press on Wednesday that Egypt wants American engagement, even deployment on the ground, to identify the mission, task, and mandate of this force. So we got Egypt asking us to keep people on the ground for this, which is a little bit sketchy, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. And Trump did have some interesting things to say. I have a couple clips for you guys. This is the one that's probably done the most rounds, particularly in reference to an insane degree of deference that Trump is admittedly showing, just saying the quiet part out loud to Miriam Edelson, the stuff everyone says over and over again. I mean, it's just like with Israel and with us, it's almost like this parody sometimes where people have these critiques of like, the right, some of us will be like, oh, he's bought and paid for by Miriam Edelson or this, that, and people will argue, be like, well, just because you gave him $100 million or this or that doesn't mean this. And then you have these clips of Trump just straight up saying it. So like the same thing as when people go, oh, well, Israel doesn't want to genocide or ethnic cleanse or do this or do that. And then you're like, okay, here is like a quote of the most horrid thing you've ever heard from basically every single member of their cabinet, usually damn near up to and including pretty much the prime minister. But anyways, let's here you go. In case you haven't heard this, go ahead and listen. It's something.
Broken promises from many other American presidents. You know that they kept promising. I never understood it until I got there. There was a lot of pressure put on these presidents. It was put on me too, but I didn't yield to the pressure. But
By the way, Fire Pixie, I just saw this. You are important enough for me to remember. I did say good morning to you, Fire Pixie. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's go on. I didn't want for her to feel unappreciated. Let's keep going.
The president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. Isn't that right, Miriam? Look at Miriam. She's back there. Stand up, Miriam. Stand up. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They'd call me. He'd call me. I think they had more trips to the White House than anybody else I can think of. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She's got 60 billion in the bank, 60 billion. And I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it, and they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He was a very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, Sheldon, I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in, but they were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel. Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We love you. Thank you, darling, for being here. That's a great honor. Great honor. She had one.
So yeah, that's just all the stuff out loud, saying the things. So there you go. Anytime someone tries to say, oh, he's not bought and paid for by the Adelsons, or Adelson now, because the other one's dead, you can go ahead and show him this one. Also, here is Trump urging essentially the pardon of Netanyahu. So let's watch this.
We're not going to have that happen. And this man is a good man right here. These two men are good right here. Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on. By the way, that was not in the speeches, you probably know. But I happen to like this gentleman right over here, and it just seems to make so much sense. You know, whether we like it or not, this has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. This has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. And cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that?
Which, by the way, for those who aren't aware, I don't know if I made this clear enough. This is these past couple, and these are, I believe, in the Knesset that he's been giving these addresses. So if I wasn't clear on that, because I know I did say that they did meet in Egypt for some stuff earlier, but now I guess he's in the Knesset. I don't know. I guess it could be somewhere else by now. I don't know where exactly, but this was on his stop of tour. So he went through the Knesset, has been there at least by now, Egypt as well. So this is the sort of stuff he was talking about in the Knesset. We also have Kushner and Steve Witkoff making some things happening as well over there. By the way, also too, just to be very clear with what he's referring to with the pardons, he's referring to Netanyahu with his own stuff going on in Israel with his own corruption stuff. So essentially, Trump is making an appeal to the. I'm assuming I don't really exactly completely understand their political system, but I believe. I'm assuming their president, whoever that is, was it Herzog? I think it said in here if I look back real quick. President Isaac Herzog, who's the president, because in some countries they have the thing where they have a prime minister and a president. I think the president typically handles more civil matters. So I think they would be the one who would have access to a pardon. So here's Trump essentially making an appeal to the Israeli president to pardon the Israeli prime minister, who is Netanyahu. So I don't know. I mean, so obviously, I don't know. I don't know enough about the ins and outs of the corruption. I mean, fuck Netanyahu, though. So it's kind of like anyone trying to get him out of trouble. Who knows? Maybe it is bullshit corruption charges. I very much doubt it. The little bit I've looked into it, it does seem somewhat legit. And it does seem Trump does try to dismiss it with just, champagne, cigars, whatever, which I guess that has something to do with the story. All right, here is Witkoff and Kushner. I just thought this was particularly funny. Ken Silva pointed out that this photo or this little clip they made of them at the wall is shot just like as if it was like The Office. So, I don't know, just imagine that as you're watching it. Here is Witkoff and Kushner at the wall. All right, so yeah, it is weird. Whatever. Here's these two weirdos at the wall. But on the flip side, while they are doing that gay shit, they're doing what seems to be pretty cool stuff if you understand foreign policy and how it's typically carried on. What they did right here is actually, oddly enough, in the land of bureaucrats, some G shit right here. Witkoff and Kushner held direct meeting with senior Hamas officials in Egypt. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you guys recall, I mean, especially during like all the Edon Alexander type stuff, there was a lot of weirdness and a lot of upset Israelis when it came to any sort of direct talks with Hamas in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, or even framing them as anything resembling something like a rational human being with which you could have rational negotiations with, is usually met with scorn from Israelis. So. And we're typically Israelis bitches, so usually when they freak the fuck out, we don't do these sort of things. So here we are with Witkoff and Kushner, flying in the face of that tradition. So I don't know, cool. Maybe we can make something out of that. I don't know. But let's go on. They met directly with Hamas officials on Wednesday to seal the Gaza ceasefire deal. Middle East Eye reported. The leading the Hamas officials was Khalil Al-Hayya, the acting chair of Hamas's political bureau, who Israel recently attempted to target in airstrikes in Doha. His son was killed in the attack, which we've talked about before. And according to the Middle East Eye, Witkoff offered condolences and spoke of his own son, Andrew, who died at 22 of a drug overdose. I mean, I do have to say, I know this is being framed as like, wow, what a sweet moment, but I don't know, something about that feels weird. I don't know. I mean, obviously I wasn't there. It was probably very much a you had to be there moment. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, when you have two nations, one of which is the sponsor nation for the nation that murdered your fucking child, and he's trying to be like, well, my 20-year-old died from drugs. I don't know. I'd very much want to jump over the table and probably strangle that man with my own two hands if I was put in that situation. But Khalil Al-Hayya is a bigger man than I am, I guess. Because, yeah, that doesn't really seem like, for everyone who likes to talk about moral equivocation and all that stupid bullshit, well, this would be one that would piss me off. But, okay, let's say maybe it was a moment of sweetness. I wasn't there. It's hard to say how it was framed, the moment. Hamas sources told MEE that Witkoff requested the meeting after Hamas received written confirmation from the U.S. that the ceasefire deal won't definitively end Israel's genocidal war. Hamas made a significant concession by agreeing that Israeli troops could stay inside Gaza after they released all the Israeli hostages, and is now relying on President Trump's word that Israel won't restart the bombing. Witkoff reportedly told the Hamas officials that since the death of his son, he has dedicated himself to ending the suffering of others, and that it motivated him to work to end the conflict. Kushner followed up by saying that they were there as both Jewish and American when we say we are committed to ensuring this is the end of the war. Axios also reported the secret meeting saying that aimed to break a stalemate in negotiations and was necessary for Hamas to agree to the deal. However, the Hamas source speaking to MEE said that the agreement was basically a done deal at that point. That meeting was more of a courtesy and a confidence-building measure. A source familiar with the meeting told Axios that Witkoff and Kushner gave their word that this deal will be fully enforced, and Hamas believed it. The U.S. has previously engaged directly with Hamas through Adam Bowler, the U.S. Special Envoy for Hostage Response, which then led to the release of Edan Alexander, an Israeli-American IDF soldier who was captured on October 7th. And then more on their time there. This is something super interesting. You watch this speech. I don't know if we'll watch all. Maybe we will. But I'll put this on high speed just because I think the substance of the discussion doesn't really matter. Just listen to the crowd here. The substance sort of matters, but it's more just on the surface level of who they're saying Netanyahu or they're saying Trump. But essentially, listen to this.
To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh. Okay. To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, let me just finish my thought. I was in the trenches, guys. Let me just finish my thought. I was in the trenches with the Prime Minister. Believe me, he was a very important part here. The Prime Minister and his staff, Ron Dermer included, have both sacrificed so much for this country and devoted their lives to the service of Israel. Their dedication to the history and destiny of this nation stands out tonight. They've given everything, their time, their energy, and their hearts, to building a safer, stronger future for the Jewish people. Their commitment to this country has never wavered, and it never will. We thank you. The President thanks you. Thank you. And to President Donald J. Trump.
So that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, so you got a thank you, Trump cheer coming out from this group. I will say it didn't sound too crazy resounding, but either way, juxtaposing these two is quite something. So they are clearly not huge fans of Netanyahu over there right now, which, I mean, it causes me to remind myself of the precarious political situation Netanyahu finds himself in, and very much would make me want to provide a word of caution to people out there with this current peace deal, because I struggle to believe that we're going to keep things. I mean, maybe we'll move on from the Gaza thing, but I feel like there's got to be at least something else coming, unfortunately, if not a picking back up of Gaza in one way, shape, or another, because I just do not know how Netanyahu survives this politically, a lack of war. Like, he needs murder to exist. It's really all there is to it. Recently, John Kiriakou was on Rogan, and I guess to touch on the West Bank situation, I guess he was talking about it. So just kind of wanted to see what he said. I had this saved. I didn't have any West Banks, stories for today. But I saw Kiriakou was talking about it, and he was on Rogan, so figured it was worth checking in. Let's see what he has to say.
That the Israelis aren't going to respect the deal that appears to be in process in Gaza or the West Bank. I mean, we're not talking about the West Bank.
Right.
Where just 2 weeks ago, a Christian village ceased to exist because settlers from New Jersey took all their houses. What happens next in the West Bank?
From New Jersey?
Yeah, there are a lot of synagogues in New York, New Jersey, Toronto that have these things called real estate seminars, where you can put your name on a list, and then they call you and say, hey, house just opened up over here in this Arab village that's not Arab anymore. Come take your house. And 2 weeks ago, the village that the Israelis cleared out was one of the last remaining Christian villages.
Yep, one of the last remaining Christian villages has now been taken over by a bunch of Jews from New Jersey. So totally checks out in the way this whole war has been going, and the way Israel do be being. But here's more from some more off-the-cuff remarks from Trump with some of his his speaking tour that he's been on, which, once again, you never know what to make of with this guy, but apparently he went a little off script about Iran, and I know I was saying, like, hey, we were providing word of caution about hostilities picking back up. I think a lot of us, myself included, have been kind of thinking, well, we're waiting for the shoe to drop for Iran, but, well, in a kind of a counter signaling here, here's Trump. I'm not entirely sure where this was at, but I think this is said reporting from Jerusalem. So it's from the New York Times in Jerusalem. Here is what he said from David Halbfinger. Sorry, that name was weird. So in quote, says, going off script at some length about Iran, this is David saying this. President Trump seemed surprised Israeli lawmakers by broaching the idea of a peace agreement with Tehran. Now, this is Trump in quotes. You know, that would be great if we could make a peace deal with them, he said. Would you be happy with that? Wouldn't it be nice? Because I think they want to. I think they're tired. This notion did not elicit enthusiastic response. So I'm not sure if maybe that was in the Knesset and we just didn't happen to get a clip of that, but that is being reported as something he said. So that is particularly interesting. And then so far as, the next, waiting for the shoe to drop, here is a story on Trump and Zelensky talking about Tomahawk missiles. Where that has been a point of contention recently. Essentially, these long-range missiles, we've floated the idea of starting to sell them to Ukraine, which would be a quite an increase in aggression. This is something, as I've told you guys numerous times, that when we floated this idea in the past, Russia changed its nuclear doctrine to be like, okay, well, if you do that, then we're considering those attacks as joint attacks, and a joint attack with a nuclear-armed nation, the U.S. So we will treat this as an attack from a nuclear nation, which is, typically when many people would be like, oh, well, maybe we ought to bring out nukes. So not a good move. But they're still flirting with this idea. We're set to host him on Friday in the White House, and the two leaders are expected to discuss the possibility of the U.S. supplying Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles. The U.S. provision of Tomahawks would mark a significant escalation. Yeah, we talked about that. Now, in quotes, do they want to have Tomahawks going in their direction? I don't think so. I told that to President Zelensky because Tomahawks are a new step of aggression, the president told reporters, President Trump. I might say, look, if this war is not going to get settled, I may send them Tomahawks. Russia doesn't need that. I think it's appropriate to bring that up. So, point being is it looks like that we're floating, as people thought when they first floated out Tomahawks. A lot of people were saying, oh, I don't think they'll sell it to him. When it was just first, subtly floated out, people were saying that oh, they wouldn't do that. That'd be crazy. I think this is just some sort of brinksmanship type of negotiation type stuff. So, well, here we are again, and he's literally saying it in that way, like, hey, essentially, I'm going to I think I might need to talk to them type deal, essentially floating this out, literally basically saying that. So now will Russia call their bluff? Is he going to get Russia to be actually give up anything whatsoever for us to not take this act? Because that seems like what he's trying to do. Trying to be like, we're going to do this and hoping that Russia will, give some sort of action, conciliatory action. I don't know exactly what particularly. But I don't think it's going to work like that. So, but not good. And then also here's a story that Maduro apparently offered the U.S. access to Venezuela's oil and mineral resources to avoid war. So, this is according to the New York Times. So the report said that talks on the potential deal went on for months, despite the U.S. increasing military pressure on Venezuela and bombing boats in the Caribbean. But they have ceased since President Trump recently ordered his special envoy, Rick Grenell, to halt diplomatic efforts with the Venezuelan government. So, yeah, we got a story float out that they've talked about essentially doing all sorts of different deals, but it seems like, which I think we had a story about this last week too, some sort of other deal that they floated out. But point being is it seems like Venezuela's doing everything they can aside from basically walking away in exile to avoid war, and it seems that the United States just doesn't want to have any of that shit. All right, let's roll through the chat, check in on everybody else, and then we'll get into some of these main topics. By the way, we had over 70 in here. Hit that like button, people. We got a bunch of y'all in here. Good to see y'all today. Good morning, Michael S. Says, haven't seen Israelis dance since that hard since 9/11. For sure, brother. Second. Let me see what else we got here. Who else? Good morning, everybody. Gerald Hall says, a beautiful wall. Probably the nicest, best wall in the world. Isn't it a wonderful wall? I hear it was made without union labor. Can you believe it? What an accomplishment. Fed off with CIA. Okay, you're saying that again, Uncle Ted. I don't know who Fed Tez is again. I'm sorry. Fuentes. Fuentes. That makes sense. Fedtez. Okay, I get it. All right. I did not see Fuentes and Gavin Newsom facing off. Although, I don't know. That sounds interesting. I might have to check that out later. Let me see. Let's see if there's anything interesting in the chat before we move on. Mulgara says Trump clearly isn't bought by Israel. He's saying the word fuck at them on occasion. It's sad that so many conservatives actually buy that shit. By the way, I also saw earlier you, specifically Mulgara, mentioning that I believe what you say, I think 5 Palestinians died in the past, 24 hours or since the ceasefire. I know this may sound completely awful, but as I've said before, well, those are Israeli ceasefire numbers. So as fucked up as that is the situation anytime you're dealing with ceasefire with Israel. So if we're dealing with single-digit numbers in an Israeli ceasefire, I'm impressed, frankly, as weird as that may be. Let me see. Good morning, Auburn Sky. Good to see you. Planking for Yahoo. Planking. I missed that trend. That was a fun trend back when that was a thing. Mustache's massive storm here in Tempe, Arizona yesterday. Trees fell on houses all around my neighborhood. Every 5th tree is broken or tipped straight from the roots. Well, be careful driving around there. I know how roads can be after stuff like that, so be careful, brother. Power is still out. Well, I hope you guys get that shit again, working again here soon. Justin Valentine says Laura Ingraham made an ass out of Donald Trump accidentally. I'll have to look for that later. That sounds funny. All right. Everyone hit that like button. I think we might be almost all caught up in the chat. You guys are just chatting. No questions, no nothing. I don't think. Let me see. Good morning, Jake Moore. Good to see you here. Good morning. Good morning. You are a wee bit late, but we're just getting into the main topic, so perfect timing. Great thing about the show is you can show up an hour late, and you kind of are really just getting to the actual meat of the show. So, all right. Mulgara says, I think the count is up to 5 now per Dave DeCamp. Netanyahu having his trial tomorrow also really adds fuel to the fire. I was not aware he had a trial tomorrow. Good morning, Jug the Goat. Good morning. Good morning. We're at 69. Nice. Bump those numbers up. Good morning, everybody. Hit that like button. All right. And Gerald says he's here for the chat and Jose's handsome face. Hell yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and let's make fun of. Let's start off with Josh Hammer. Actually, it's always fun to make fun of him to start off with. So let's watch a little video of Josh Hammer. He's getting a little litigious, so let's see what he has to say. Actually, I don't think I have it up. My bad. 1 second. Almost did a dum-dum. Here you go.
I'm talking to lawyers. I think I'm a lawyer by background. I clerked for a federal appeals judge. I know a thing or two about United
Never would have guessed he's a lawyer.
States constitutional law. I think that we have a potentially serious case here for defamation, and I'm very much speaking with lawyers, and we'll see what happens.
She is lying in a way that is resonating with people in a way that damages you significantly.
Yeah, it's just so evil. I mean, Charlie was a good friend of mine. I mean, I've known him for 5-6 years, give or take, but we really became close over the final year and a half of his life. We were in daily communication. I don't actually know precisely the extent to which he and Candace communicated in the final year or two, but she very much was on the outs of Turning Point USA, and my understanding is that they were not in touch at all. I mean, maybe kind of a happy birthday kind of here or there, but not close touch. And I mean, Aaron, when I first found out that Charlie had been shot.
All right. Well, that's I think this broad put this out as almost like a I don't know, promo for her show. Candace is saying, too long, didn't read. Josh Hammer lied about the state of Charlie's mindset toward Israel when he died. Now he's crying and threatening to sue because he's embarrassed. I shared the text message and exposed him. The era of utilizing lawfare to silence those who tell the truth is now over. To which I think everyone has already pointed out online that, like, okay, haha, go for it, you stupid fuck. Let's go. We're ready for discovery. Please, please, please do that. So I don't think that will happen, him suing, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more threats of the like. But I just thought it was worthwhile to let you guys know that, hey, that's where they're at. They're speaking of lawfare. But all right, let's go ahead and get into some of the latest. Now, this is, as I tell you guys this show, I'm mostly processing this stuff in real time with you guys. Now, Candace last week, I guess, is announced, I think on Thursday or Friday, that she was going on vacation. So I guess she wasn't able to stay away from the story, despite the fact she's going on vacation. And she dumped a few things here and there over the weekend. So I figured we'd go through some of them. Here is, so just start off. So if it does get a little disjointed, not make sense, once again, I'm just kind of catching up. I haven't really processed these any more than maybe many of you guys have. So breaking news on September 10th, after Charlie's assassination, an Egyptian Air Force plane flew out of Provo, Utah. Now, tail number SU/BTT. Its first trip to America ever was made on July 20th to an Army base in Nebraska. Tyler Robinson must have had some powerful friends, she says. And then she shows a picture here of the plane. It shows them going from Provo in Utah to Wilmington, which I think Provo isn't far from the university. So here you go. You can see the flights, which doesn't show a date, but I guess you probably could. Never mind. There he goes. Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, at 1:08 UTC, which I know a lot of people end up focusing on that, where some people got the time zones wrong of what that is. And anyways, because I think they tried to say this was essentially, there was a contention between whether it was before or after, and then they were arguing that they got it wrong, but at the end of the day, either way, it's weird. They're around that time. And then here is, I guess here's more photos of kind of the flight logs. So I don't know if you can go confirm this stuff. Then Candace says, with all we have crowdsourced, it looks like a decision to murder Charlie Kirk in Utah was made around July 18th, which, to be fair, I don't really know how she gets from there to there. So might be missing some stuff, which I feel like we're making a lot of jumps. The plane flew into Provo direct from France on September 4th and stayed until just after Charlie was assassinated. Flying out to Wilmington on that day, the plane returned home to Egypt the following day on September 11th. She says, we now need to re-examine which foreign leaders were in the U.S. during this approximate time frame, or what happened in the news leading up to this that may have led to someone calling for his murder. Okay. Now, I don't. Once again, when we get into these like plain things and these highly technical stuff, it gets me a little weird. Now, it is interesting. Someone pointed out here too that she's saying that they think they met in July 18th. Well, here's someone saying that the Israeli Defense Minister Israeli Katz met with Defense or Pentagon officials on July 18th to 19th. So it could have met with them then. I think the thing would be, though, were they in Nebraska? I don't know. I just don't know where she's getting to, jumping from that. Therefore, we know that there was some sort of meeting, perhaps. I feel like I'm missing stuff, but I guess she has shown herself to perhaps be sitting on receipts. Hopefully that's the case this time. I'm not going to allow myself to outsource my thinking just because one time she had a look I'm possibly correct. So yeah, let's get into, sorry, never mind. I thought I had the correct tab prepared here. I did not. My bad. Let me see if I can find the one I was looking for. Let me see. Actually, here's one on the time to clarify the time thing I was looking for before. Here is, okay, I stand corrected. On the departure time of the Egyptian Air Force plane, it left just before Charlie was assassinated, because I guess the claim was she was saying it was after. So a lot of people are throwing out that she was wrong here, the before, or, you know, as opposed to after, and kind of pointing, oh, crazy, sloppy, you know, okay, I guess you're wrong. I don't know. I guess I feel like we're missing stuff is where I'm at too. I'm like, where are we getting that, you know, essentially, how are we getting this thing from the next thing? I'm just a little lost. How do we get that we know this is military intel? Yeah, I don't know. Well, sorry, I'm looking for a thread actually real quick, because it looked like she had started a thread, but then it wasn't connected to anything else. Oh, I'm an idiot. I was reading it wrong. All right, let's get back into the one I meant to. All right, here we go. So, and then it's 9:10. A contracted U.S. military owned by LaSalle LLC flew around the campus at around the time Charlie was assassinated. And then also an Egyptian Air Force jet departed Provo in the morning, completing its first ever trip to Utah. Who were the passengers? So I guess, so we did talk about this plane way back in the day. There was also the other U.S. military plane. So I think we have like 2 planes now that are a little sketchy. I do find it weird that we do find Ryan Dawson poking up in these at odd times, just doing shit like this. He's done this a lot, where he's just, I don't know if this is a common thing. I've never known him to do this, where he'll just pop in and be like, wrong, and then not provide any reasoning whatsoever. I've seen him do this a handful of times already for different things. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. He was one of those kind of like naysayers about the whole Israel connection from the jump, and acting like people were ridiculous. And then he did this weird heel turn when the group chat stuff came out, and he did this thing. You're like, okay, well, now that I'm done with because he had some other documentary thing going on. Now that I'm done with my documentary, I'm going to, I've refocused, I've focused my energy, and now that I've actually really been able to look in, we're looking at some of this stuff. But what I was really pointing at was all the kooks, and like, essentially he literally did a cake and like a kind of have my cake and eat it too thing. He's like, essentially like, I wasn't even really paying attention, and now I'm paying attention, and yeah, there is Israel, but you guys, back when I wasn't paying attention, it was like, you guys are just being kooks. Even though, I know, it just came off very much as cope. So I don't know what is going on with him these days. He might be right. He might be right that she is wrong here. I'm completely open to Candace being wrong. It just seems weird that he does seem to interject himself in these situations and not really, I don't know. So, yeah. So, I don't know. She's pointing out that we have these planes. I don't know what to make of that. It does seem a little bit out there, a little... I don't know. It's highly technical, I guess, is my point. Like, I'm open to these having something to do with this larger whatever. It just kind of seems like really hard to know. But as she says here, who were the passengers? I am all for finding out more. I hope people are actually able to shake out information, and maybe something comes of it. Now, I guess kind of going more into the crazy town. One person Candace has been asking a lot of questions about is this Phil Lyman guy. So a lot of people kind of been throwing around the idea that perhaps there's some sort of stagecraft at hand here. And I'm completely open to it. So let's explore this idea together. Here is one of these videos where supposedly we see just that. So you see this person saying, or they say, watch here. So you see what looks like Lyman holding what appears to be a script and nodding in sync as a perfect person delivers his line, and the person counting down before filming. They say to check out her shirt. And how deep does this really go? With just shirt, does it say Lyman? Is that what they're pointing out? That it's literally promotion for his election? All right, okay, one second. Let me set up the video. The video is obviously glitched up because that's what it does. Because why would it ever work? Give me a second. Let's play this. All right. Right now we'll play this. Now you guys watch. You guys tell me, what do you guys think? Does this seem... I haven't watched it yet, so we'll watch it together.
1, 2, 3. I saw Charlie.
Okay, so you see it does say Lyman. Her shirt does say Lyman, so it's literally a campaign shirt for Lyman, the guy standing next to her with his phone. He's looking at his phone, and so you have this guy who's pouring this. So let's keep playing.
Kirk get shot. 1, 2, 3. I saw Charlie Kirk get shot. He collapsed in his seat. He fell over to the side. He was carried.
I know they're saying he's looking at his phone and nodding. I haven't really got a nod yet. Let's keep watching it. I do see him look in the phone, but I can't really... I don't know if that necessarily means anything. People look at their phones all the time. I can't really make out anything there. It's way too small. I mean, maybe if I had the enhance like NCIS, I could. But let's keep playing.
His arms, he had blood on his shirt. He was dragged off and carried out of the venue. There was a gunshot that rang out. You okay? No, I'm not okay. I saw someone get shot today. Yeah. So. I saw Charlie Kirk get shot. He collapsed in his seat. He fell over to the side. He was carried off. He had blood on his arms. He had blood on his shirt. He was dragged off and carried out of the venue. There was a gunshot that rang out.
You okay?
I'm not okay. I saw someone get shot today.
Dumb question.
All right, now they're about to show another thing right now, and I actually did. I said I didn't watch this, but I did jump around frames and here and there, and I remember catching the second half of this and being confused and having to figure this out. So I'm glad I accidentally watched some of this beforehand, because as I was watching this, I was remembering, like, oh yeah, the second half of this they show. You can see here this kid, which we covered early on, the one who gets kind of upset with these other ones who try to stop him from talking about it. Now, I'm just giving you a little bit of a kind of preparing you for this portion because it was confusing for me because I was like, what the hell? We just watched this one guy deliver his, I guess, lines or whatever, and he's kind of got more of like a goofy vibe, and he's the one with Lyman and the other chick standing next to him while he's delivering it. And then there's this other one that we're about to watch here in a second where it's a guy that gets broken up. Now, they look really similar, too, is why it threw me off. Like, look at that face. And then look at that face. They look very similar, but I went back and forth to kind of be like, to figure out. And you can tell by the mannerisms and some stuff, it's not the same guy. At least I don't think it is. Perhaps it is. They're wearing the same shirt, but all these guys are wearing the same shirt. I think it's a guy who looks very, very similar, but I don't think it's the same guy. So, and you can tell by the difference. So I think perhaps the reasoning here why they put these two things together was to juxtapose essentially the first one, which is, let's be real, kind of being thrown out as like a, oh, here's our prepared, scripted, whatever the fuck. And then here's the other one, the one that kind of got away. And how do we behave about someone who gets away? Gets away from the whatever. Essentially, the one that's not on script. Essentially, so because I mean, the funny thing is like the video we're about to show too. The immediate thing that everyone went to is like the cover. And I actually kind of have been meaning to. If one of you guys think to do it, please do. But I know on my account, when I posted out this one video we're about to watch, I did, at one point I quote tweeted it or something, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? Or something like that. And then someone very quickly, I remember, responded and kind of reassured me of like, oh, here's well, maybe this or this or this. And there was like pretty quick and like, so I'm not saying it was necessarily a bot or whatever. Maybe it was just someone who saw someone else's, but it just... Point being is the way narrative seated out and with ready to go like boom, 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 especially for people with larger accounts to like kind of stray them one way or the other or to lead them one way or the other. I thought it was weird. It was almost instantaneously, now that I recall, like how quickly someone responded with like, oh, well, kind of like, don't you think maybe perhaps like his friends are just helping out. So he's not like seeming like he's trying to, get the limelight in this moment and, he's not going to get things wrong or whatever. He's going to wait to talk to authority, which like, and I felt weird. But now looking back, I was like, man, there were a lot of people right off the jump that immediately were like, ready to kind of, divert the narrative essentially. So I don't know. And I've seen lots of murmurs of people talking about that sort of stuff too. So now I'm like, I kind of do want to look back. So anyways, point being, any of you nerds out there, do you want to look back mine? Maybe you could see who those people are, maybe dig into them. I have a feeling perhaps there might be some sort of bot or some sort of narrative controlling behavior occurring here. But let's watch the second half of this so you can kind of in your head juxtapose these two. Now I will say though, on the Lyman thing, they said, oh, he looked like he was nodding. Well, this is far more shady than that other one that I showed the other day with and then it's like literally just two separate reactions and saying they're similar. It still isn't really much, unfortunately. It doesn't look good. It looks a little wild. I'll give you that. I was thinking maybe there'd be more overt behavior from Lyman. I will say him being there, being ready, The whole optics of it's pretty weird. I'll give you that. It's very, very odd looking. But let's watch this other person.
Yeah, dumb question.
Did you guys see what happened?
Yes, I saw him. What's it called? Are you recording this?
Yes, you're live right now. Well, we're recording. I don't know if we're live because of the cell service.
So,
hang on.
I was standing in probably the third. Okay. I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
Emotions are running high right now. Everybody's in shock, including myself. Where's your mom at? Oh.
All right, that's the end of the video. I was actually just trying to get a look at him, see if maybe I noticed something about him. See, looky. Sorry, I'm still in my head trying to be like, is this the same guy? I don't think it is. I was looking at his wrist and seeing if it matched up with what the other guy was wearing on his wrist. They had like different wrist thingies, I think. Let me see. Ooh, well, actually, never mind. Now I'm going back to maybe it's the same guy. Shit, and maybe it is the same guy. No, damn it. Now I'm torn on this. I think maybe I'm so torn on whether it's the same guy or not, actually. They have a similar bracelet. They look very similar. Man, actually, maybe it is the same guy. I'm so torn on this. I need somebody to figure this out. Now I'm like, what the hell is the reasoning for why he's getting bullied essentially by the group to break him up from the first one, the second one? I don't know. Maybe more will come out as time goes on, or maybe this is just schizophrenic people looking for stuff where there isn't in some cases. But kind of more to that. Here's another one of these ones. This is where they're saying, oh, supposedly smiling and laughing. I will say these are getting a little much. Let's keep going. Let's see where this one's at with it. But let's watch it.
We are outside the student life room.
Keep in mind, this is supposed to be like shortly after. So, and this is one of the things that's pointed out that like, why is he taking these interviews so quickly? Which, okay, weird.
You guys see what happened?
How are you?
Did you see what happened, Phil?
No.
You were there too.
Okay, so they're saying the no, and then the weird smile. Okay, I will say then they cut off frame. That's okay. I don't like this. I mean, this short little. Well, I will say that did seem very, very weird. We were completely cut off from larger context. I mean, I know as someone myself who's joked a lot about dark things, and it doesn't mean at all anyway. I've been in times where things are super dark and be cutting jokes and smiling because it's like, what else are you gonna do? So I don't know. Maybe there's more to it, but I guess that was they cut off to another cut something on him over in Alex Jones. So I will say that little bit. I mean, that's whatever. I don't know. Him smiling in this situation. I don't know. Let's keep playing.
I see what happened.
How are you?
Did you see what happened, Phil?
No.
Yeah, that's weird.
You were there too.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because I was there. I was a witness to everything that happened. I was talking to Charlie just before he took the stage, and I was in very, very close proximity.
Did you guys see what happened?
I mean, they did say that he was like, I guess they're putting in quotes that he refers to him as a friend. No, I guess if this was someone that was actually friendly, it would be kind of hard to believe that you would be kind of calm and being able to kind of, have the wherewithal to be a little jovial to kind of, cut the mood. But let's keep going.
How are you?
Did you see what happened, Phil?
No.
No.
Charlie was a friend of mine.
No.
We know one thing, Charlie Kirk died.
I was pretty.
It's ironic.
Now, I want to know if this was after, because now if this was after the no, and then it's an awkward, weird lip licking, then that makes it even more like what the fuck. But the way this is, cut up, I can't even really get proper context of the whole situation.
It's ironic, Alex. This happens to be the 12th year anniversary of my indictment.
Okay, yeah, this is. I mean, it doesn't look good. I'll give you that. It does not look good. It looks a little weird. I think there's some weirdness to dig into to him as well. Oh, here's actually. Never mind. Let's go ahead and do it now. So I just happened to scroll across this Hunter Kozak, which I believe this is the one. This video right here, which this is what I was making fun of the one broad yesterday for this. Go ahead and let's play this. Actually, let's. I'm gonna put that on a loop while I hunt for the specific comment I want to respond to, in particularly making fun of that poor broad. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here we go. Found it. It says, Jose, don't write that lady off as dumb. That kid, Hunter Kozak, who just happened to ask the final ironic question to Charlie Kirk and just happened to be practicing his reaction beforehand, then just happened to get an interview in 60 Minutes, also just happens to be a son of Steve Kozak, who's a producer for Jimmy Kimmel Live. And if you look at the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio building and read what's above the pillars, you might actually feel the need to pay that crazy dot connecting lady some respects. And I do have to say, if you say so, Zero, I do still feel absolutely zero need to pay that crazy dot connecting lady some respects whatsoever. Because as I said earlier in the episode, she connected two things. Now you've connected a whole string of other dots, of which I go, okay. Now this is interesting. Now we're stringing some shit together. Now this isn't just schizophrenic rambling. This isn't just connecting of two dots. Now this isn't me looking at fucking Phil Lyman and go, see, he fucking smiled. See how that's fucking stupid? But now if we're dealing with this, we're dealing with something a little more. So to this post is his father, which I know I just said some of these things already, but just to reiterate, Hunter Kozak of Unfuck America, his father, Steve Kozak, is currently employed as Director of Research and Clearances for Jimmy Kimmel Live, which is, I guess, filmed in a Masonic temple, which did not know that. He was held this role for several years following previous positions at shows like Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Public records and family relations confirm the paternal link between Hunter and Steve Kozak. Hunter is a U Valley University graduate student who asked Charlie Kirk about statistics on transgender mass shooters moments before Charlie Kirk's assassination on September 10th, 2025. He posted a video on social media detailing his interactions with Kirk, describing the moment as visceral and calling for political unity. He appeared on 60 Minutes alongside another witness, Jeb Jacoby, which apparently that's another weird story too, emphasizing return to civilized debate after the event. Kozak is a TikToker and a member of the Unfuck America Tour, an organization countering TPUSA associated with streamer Destiny who harassed Kirk defense. Kozak's wife gave birth to their second child 3 days before the assassination. I don't know why that's relevant. The baby was in the NICU. Okay, now that's why it's relevant. The baby was in the NICU while they attended the UVU event. Yeah, that's weird. What the fuck are you doing? You should be with your kid. That's why that's weird, actually. Yeah, the fact that Kozak is fucking going at a Charlie Kirk tour when his kid is days old, that is bizarre. Online footage shows Kozak making head-grabbing gestures before Kirk arrived, leading to allegations that he rehearsed his shocked reaction to the shooting. Some claim Kozak is Jewish and part of Antifa, though no confirmed evidence supports Antifa ties beyond the counter tour group. Initial eyewitnesses reports conflicted on Kirk's wound location, chest versus neck, but later aligned on neck. Kozak's question preceded the shot that hit Kirk's artery without exiting. So, yeah. Okay, which once again, I'm still the two. I wish there was more, or that they didn't keep cutting these up. I don't know. But yeah, that's weird. That's super duper fucking weird for sure. Yeah, and then more to the kind of weird, kind of the craziness aspect of things. Here is another question a lot of people have been, pushing around about is the no blood distinction with the Charlie Kirk. A lot of people have gotten really into the weed of that. Well, I did find someone who shared around a bunch of photos of blood or found pictures where I guess if you look deep enough, you can find some of these people with blood on them. Now, I haven't gotten too in the weeds of this, but now I do think, from my understanding, this is actually a little bit of a conflation essentially occurring, where they're kind of conflating a couple things together now, or a little bit of confusion or narrative runaway, I guess you could say. I believe how a lot of this started is there were those that were claiming that the initial responders to the scene, the bodyguards, provided almost no first aid response at all. And a lot of the complaint then became there was no blood on them. You couldn't see them because the way the video is kind of obscured, like the table blocks off some of it, but you can kind of see maybe they're like somewhat their shoulders, upper body, some things moving around. And there are people who have given their, some people professional opinions of being like, it doesn't look like they did a goddamn bit of first aid. Now, this elusive behind the back video would really help with those claims, which a lot of people point out. Maybe that's one of the main reasons why we can't get a hold of it. And I'm open to that. I would have to go re-look at those videos again. I don't have a strong opinion whether they were rendering first aid or not. But then that then goes into people going, oh, there was no blood whatsoever. Well, there was blood. Now then some people say there wasn't near as much blood as there should have been. Sure, maybe there's something to that. It does seem like an arterial spray would be all over the fucking place, which is what a lot of people did say. I mean, there was some weird people were saying that like somehow his heart stopped or some shit, which I think that was when they were operating off the idea that perhaps there was some sort of bulletproof vest or something. Anyways, I don't know. I'm no blood spatter analyst expert, but I don't know. It's starting to look like, okay, there was blood. So I don't know. Some people are trying to be like, oh, it's a squib, or maybe I don't know. But a lot of people are trying to point to the idea of like, it doesn't seem like there's much blood. Well, it does seem like there was. Now, were they performing first aid? I'm unsure. Now I also, kind of more also to the kind of the deep technical oddity questions. Here is a one of these ones where they're doing these search trend analyses, and I guess they're saying that there was upticks in certain things around that point in time. So I guess 12 days before he was assassinated, someone in D.C. was looking at the Sorensen Center. An IP address originating in Israel was also looking at the Sorensen Center the exact same day. And I guess that's the building in UVU, which is next to where the shooter was located. What the fuck just happened? Somehow my wife's cat just ran outside the door. All right, that's weird. Sorensen Center is a building at UVU next to where the shooter stood. So this is publicly available info from Google Trends from Baron Coleman on YouTube. Now, I don't know if there's any tech nerds out there. What do you guys make of these? I hear a lot of people bring these up in conspiratorial things these days, these search inquiries. How reliable are these? Is there any sort of pitfalls? If you know, let me know. These are these sort of things between the plain things, these things where I get a little bit like, these seem a little too technical, seem a little too jargony, and rife for getting away from us. But let's play this. Now, of course, the audio's not working. Give me a second. Now you hear the kitty cat? That's Ozzy. Let's go and play this.
12 days before Charlie Kirk fatally lost his life, someone in the District of Columbia has a keen interest on looking at the Sorensen Center. It's also about the exact same day. In fact, on the same day in Israel, we have an IP address originating in Israel on the exact same day that the District of Columbia was looking at the Sorensen Center. Someone in Israel is looking at the Sorensen Center. 12 days before.
All right. So we have 12 days before. I guess we have people looking in the same place. I mean, I've seen a bunch more of these search inquiries. I actually am not even necessarily bringing this up for this specific one. I've just seen a lot of people, particularly in regards to this case and other cases, have been using search ones, and I'm always hesitant to bring these up, these search inquiries. they just seem like they're rife for essentially lying with statistics, I guess, is in like I'm dumb, so I'm easy to fall for that sort of thing. So it's kind of like a symbology. It's kind of like you sort of stray away from it. That's kind of how I feel about like overly technological nerd jargon, or even some of the plain stuff like we showed before, where you're like, I don't know, is this legit? I'm unsure. And then also kind of in the tech things, to kind of finish off this one, kind of to the, is there tech shenanigans afoot? There have been lots of talks, and I think this probably maybe ties into our talks on some of this Christian campaign from the old Jays that they've been talking about rolling out for a while now. Apparently, I feel like that perhaps TPUSA, whether this was planned, if you want to be conspiratorial with everything else going on or not, it seems almost as if they were part of the pilot program. It seems like, for all this geofencing and all this shit that they were trying to do. But let's watch this clip put together by TPV Sean, and let's watch this. About to come some of the weird tech shenanigans going over with TPUSA.
According to multiple researchers, all signs now point to a larger operation. Israel and its allies in the global elite using Turning Point USA as a Trojan horse to spy on tens of millions of Americans.
Break a little bit of news on your program, Jesse. Our partners that do sort of geotagging with devices, they told us that they tracked over 277,000 devices in the vicinity of State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Wow. 277,000. So that just gives you an idea of the scale of humanity out there.
At the center of this digital web is a network of apps tied to Turning Point USA, including Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Early Vote Action, The Western Journal, Conservative News America, and numerous state GOP apps. Evidence shows these were developed by Superfeed Technologies Incorporated, a foreign for-profit company with extremely murky global ties. The fine print reveals these apps are sharing your personal information, including user IDs, device and other IDs, your location, including your precise location at any given time, and all app interactions, all comments, all opinions, all behavior online. Every click monitored, logged, and used to build a profile on you. If you've had any contact with these apps, I hope your personal details were protected. I hope you were anonymized. Because when you understand the nature of the people we're dealing with, when you understand that they've declared the internet their new battleground, when you understand you're in their crosshairs, the picture gets much darker.
We're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time, but we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media.
Ready to go down the rabbit hole? Here's the shocker. The chairman of the board and CEO of Superfeed is none other than Tyler Bowyer, a senior figure at both Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. For a company handling the private data of American citizens to be run by a TPUSA insider under a foreign registration raises unprecedented questions about who's really in control of the movement. But the revelations don't stop there. In an even bigger shock, researchers have uncovered that Erica Kirk's own mother, Lori Francevy, whose deep intelligence and federal connections were exposed in our previous videos, also sits on Superfeed's board. That's right. The mother of Charlie Kirk's wife, who herself has suspicious ties to federal agencies, is on the board of a foreign registered company, reportedly monitoring and logging the data of American conservatives. Grok says the odds of this coincidence are astronomical, 1 in at least 22 billion. Others are saying it looks less like a coincidence and more like a carefully engineered pipeline of data. But should anyone really be surprised? Nothing about the Kirk-Francevy family story quite adds up. And every day, more cracks appear in the carefully crafted public image. Her father literally wrote the book on the intersection between business and government intelligence. And her mother, the plucky small business owning single mum, is somehow also an expert on the weaponization of EMPs and Israel's Iron Dome missile shield. Here's a 2012 Erica Kirk interview that most people missed until now, in which she accidentally let the truth slip out.
I've been able to travel to the Pentagon. I've been able to meet General Salazar, who's actually out here in Arizona. And so there's been a lot of things that have been going on, from working in the military, to traveling, to just being able to get out there, and a lot of work.
Even seasoned political observers are stunned at how deep this rabbit hole is going. From Erica Kirk's close ties to a man credibly accused in the Romanian press of child sex trafficking, to her mother's quiet position on the board of a company funneling TPUSA user data to Israel, the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. A new threat is clearly emerging. The elite are no longer just influencing politics, they're waging war on humanity through information and data. And now they've stopped hiding it.
All right. Well, that's the end of our Kirk section. We'll move into the Antichrist topic here in a second after we roll through the chat. Good morning, Rise to Liberty, saying the Jimmy connection is genuine evidence of revelation of the method, in my opinion. Yeah, that does seem weird, doesn't it? Sure does, especially when the Jimmy thing breaks right around the same time. Who else? Justin Valentine says first aid was clearly not their first instinct, is what it feels like. Perhaps they carried off the body like they had practiced it 100 times, Justin said. Although, to be fair, you would think you would practice body carries if you are bodyguards. But, I don't know. And then there is the weirdness of, like, well, why did they go to a car and an ambulance? And then there's the weirdness of, like, what the fuck is going on with that outfit? Like, they, didn't they, like, disappear, like, or destroy their social media? And there's all the rumors of them having issues and this and that. Yeah, Ken covered that quite a bit. Weird stuff. So... good morning, JC. Good to see you in here. Good to see you pop in here. Let me see. Good morning. Good morning. Justin says, seems like the first priority would be to stop him from bleeding, but I'm not a security expert. Yeah, your first instinct would be to put as much pressure on that as possible. Rise Liberty says, these search results are definitely reliable. I mean, this is really what Google does, and so this is incredibly, incredibly odd. Okay. All right. I will just say I am kind of knee-jerk like anything tech. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably rife. It's subject for fake and gay big time. One mustache is going to leave the chat to sign up to the Patreon, Jose. Thank you, brother. Be back soon. For those who want to do that as well, here is the QR code right up here, or you can go to patreon.com/nowayjose2020. Takes you the same place either way. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get access to early episodes. I usually do about 1 to 2 of those a day. You also get an ad-free RSS feed, access to Telegram, access to pre-show, post-show, and video calls. I mean, Austin's weekly live call-in show already dead, so appreciate that, mustache. And if you want to give a big shout-out, then you just got to become a sponsor, the highest level. Base Kothar says, I am awesome. I don't know who else you're saying is awesome, but it doesn't matter. Let me see. Good morning, Mikey Chin. Good to see you in here. Base Kothar says, I need to sign up for this Patreon. I'm a Jew for not doing it. You are a Jew. Don't be a Jew. Go to patreon.com. Just nowayjose2020. Unless you're a cool Jew, and then go to patreon.com. Just nowayjose2020. Let me see. All the track is tracking you and brainwashing, says Base Kothar. You are probably correct. You're probably correct. No lies detected. Good morning, Chuck Bam. Good to see you here. Is there currently a mothership over Texas or whatever? Let me know. Fill us in. Mustaches, we need to do an episode. J Talk with Jared will be collaborative with No Way Jose soon. Best $10 ever spent. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, hit me up. I don't know if you intentionally did the $10 episode for this reason. I don't know if it's still listed. But $10 does give you an episode, so I would have gave you one either way if you just asked. But, whatever, you're a patron at the $10 level, you are now entitled to an episode. So, yeah, I'll be happy to be a guest. Follow me, or hit me up somewhere. If you're on Twitter or whatever, find a way to get in touch with me. We'll set something up. Or I can hit you up on Patreon, since you're on Patreon now. Who else we got? What else we got in the chat? Should be a Patreon chat community. Austin has one. Does he? What do you mean Austin has a Patreon chat community? Maybe you mean the Telegram? Because me and Austin share a Telegram, so that might be what you're referring to. Maybe you're already in there, but whatever. You can get 2 ways to get to that Telegram. That can be through supporting me or supporting Austin. So maybe that's what you're referring to. So there is a Patreon chat company. All right, let's see. Catch up. All right, let's go ahead and get into some Antichrist stuff. So apparently there's been the Peter Thiel has been doing some lectures recently on the Antichrist. We're not going to go through all of it. Really, so it's all the same stuff. I know we covered the Antichrist stuff a while back, so it's pretty much all the same stuff. I know there's been people talking about leaked audio, this and that, but I did skim through all this stuff, and it is basically all the same shit. But It's just more of the same. So we got Teal out here still. He's spreading this whole Greta Thunberg's Antichrist or some nonsense. But basically the crux of his drive here is essentially Antichrist is almost like I don't know, maybe I think he is kind of implying it could be a singular person, but it's almost like a larger conception, like essentially it's an anti-technology force is essentially what he's trying to. So essentially the idea of like prevention of innovation is what it is. Well, so that's why he sees something like a Greta Thunberg, those calling for, reduction of emissions or whatever to be the Antichrist, and those, pushing forward, which particularly in regards to this AI stuff is, I think, where a lot of this is really makes sense, because the big thing is a lot of people are talking about, like, do we press forward with AI? Because there's all these, philosophical waxing of, is this what's going to destroy us? Yada, yada, yada. Well, he's like, well, we need to forge through, and to be, of the mindset of we need to stop is of the Antichrist. And now I would actually, once again, kind of point out that I think this is a little bit of a false paradigm. I think, ironically, essentially what Teal is arguing for, like, essentially this is trying to frame it to the public, almost as if it's like this libertarian versus authoritarian type thing occurring here. This idea that there are these authoritarians that want to tamp down and find ways to coerce the world to prevent, stop innovation from occurring. But the problem is, like, what really is, when he's saying that from the perspective of a oligarchical state capitalist, like the most over the top, like he is a product of the state. So this idea that he is not this organic rising of the market, he is not that. He is force incarnate. He is the state in essence. So ironically, he's the closest thing to the actual Antichrist here. And so the reason why I point that out is it's not this simple, innovation versus, preventing of innovation, since we're talking about these lines of state lines as well. And we're also talking about centralization and decentralization. Essentially, instead of a straight line, now we're working on an axis. Essentially, we're working on a grid. Instead of just looking at this very simplistic, binary, dumb thing that he's tried to make it. Now, I will agree, if you are looking at the future from if you're trying to centralize innovation, then yeah, you are ironically, like, it's the inversion of what Teal is talking about at that point. Like, he is the Antichrist in this scenario. If we're talking about centralized innovation and they are trying to, force all of the energy into that, yeah, that's not good. And ironically, the flip side is sees the Gretas are almost like this decentralized attempt at I guess de-innovation, maybe. I don't even know how to frame that correctly. But point being is, the paradigm's wrong. But either way, this is what's being floated out. He's giving these he's out and about giving these lectures out on where is he doing these at? He's on like a San Francisco waterfront, so people are paying like $200 for these lectures or so, and he's giving them out. But then meanwhile, while he's doing all this, I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to, while you have, it seems like he's trying to present this philosophical framework of his future, I guess, of what the future that he wants of reality, and it seems like he's got this idea of what he's trying to lay out. And I just think it's he's fumbling. He's fumbling hard. I think the Antichrist. I think that Teal thinks he's something akin to the Antichrist, or maybe even ironically the complete opposite. Maybe he does see himself as a good guy, and I think it's getting away from himself. Ironically, I don't think he will be the Antichrist. I think his attempt he'll fumble because ironically, the decentralized innovation of the true free market, I think, will destroy the Teals, the lizard boys of the world. And I don't know, here's a video to kind of maybe offer a little something more to that. I found this interesting. Apparently, Vance got to look like a goofball, and this ties into Teal because this is his appointed future nominee. Here's Vance, being asked a lot about another cabinet or a member of Trump's cabinet with some possible corruption.
The White House border czar Tom Homan was recorded on an FBI surveillance tape in September 2024, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money or give it back?
George, you've covered the story ad nauseum. Tom Homan did not take a bribe. It's a ridiculous smear. And the reason you guys are going after Tom Homan so aggressively is because he's doing the job of enforcing the law. I think it's really preposterous. I know Tom. A
little bit of a background here. I haven't covered this on the show, but there was a probe. DOJ probed into Homan. I guess he accepted $50,000 allegedly in some FBI sting. Now, I think the hang up here is he technically wasn't either in the cabinet or had a position at the time. So there's some sort of weird, Jewed out technicality here to where they've the administration has find themselves putting themselves in, has essentially sort of gotten themselves in trouble. And I think we'll get to see that here. Let's keep going.
I think that he's a good man. He gets death threats. He gets attacked. He gets constantly threatened by people because he has the audacity to want to enforce the country's immigration laws. I think that it would be a much more interesting story about why is it that Tom Homan, who is simply enforcing Americans' immigration laws, is getting constantly harassed and threatened to the point of death threats. That's a much more interesting question that I think journalists should focus on. We can agree to disagree on that question.
Well, wait, you said he didn't take a bribe, but I'm not sure you answered the question. Are you saying that he did not accept the $50,000?
George, this story has been covered ad nauseum. He did not take a bribe. Did he accept $50,000? I'm sure that in the course of Tom Homan's life, he has been paid more than $50,000 for services. The question is, did he do something illegal? And there's absolutely no evidence that Tom Homan has ever taken a bribe or done anything illegal, which is why he's working in the administration.
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom.
So see, once again, yeah, he did accept the $50,000, but let's keep going.
Of violating a crime.
Essentially, they're just trying not to get on record saying that he did, but that even then it's like this, but he didn't. I don't know, let's keep going.
The far left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that he didn't violate a crime.
So you don't, what was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money?
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You're focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
What a great, if you come out of an interaction and George Stephanopoulos comes off as like the likable individual, well, I don't know, I guess he does a good job at coming off as likable. Maybe that's not the good way to put it. If you come off, I guess, as just like not the one running the establishment, or you come off as the skeezy one, like what are you doing? What are you doing? And then meanwhile, on the flip side, while we have Vance's appointed or Thiel's appointed successor, essentially floundering in the water, trying to defend the corruption of his administration, essentially being seated with all of the evils of this current administration and being saddled with all of that. We have the flip side going on MTG over on Tim Dillon's podcast, essentially being anointed by essentially what I've been telling you guys for a while is kind of that new that the Dillons of the world, these are going to be, I think, the new cool kids. This is going to be the cool kids club going forward, and I think having this sort of statement on Tim Dillon's show, I think definitely means something. So let's watch this together.
A lot of people say you're the heir to the real MAGA, and JD Vance is not.
Wow.
A lot of people say that.
Who's saying that?
A lot of people.
That's interesting.
There are people that are saying that. There are people that are saying that.
I like JD.
I like him too. But there are people that are saying that.
What do they mean by that?
They mean that they hear what you say and they gravitate more towards that. And they think that is emblematic of what the MAGA coalition, love it, hate it, whatever, stood for. And that they feel that you have carved out a space where they felt MAGA was about being an outsider, and they feel that you embody that more than he does.
Well, he's vice president.
Right.
Which is a hard role.
Sure.
I mean, it's a very hard role. I think MAGA is about.
Does that surprise you that people are saying that?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Really?
I haven't heard that, but I've been up here mad at health insurance all week.
But that's why they're saying it.
Well, then.
Because you're getting mad at health insurance. You're getting mad at things that affect them. And, you know, I like JD. I'm not saying.
No, I love JD, but I'm mad about a lot of things, and I'm not going to stop talking about it. And I'm not going to stop finding solutions for it. I'm mad at education in this country.
Of course.
I as a conservative, I want to defund it, but at the same time, I want to
get people.
I want to rebuild it. I want to go back to the classics and us to have the best reading and math levels and I want high schoolers to graduate with like being an electrician or a plumber or a welder or whatever it is. I want them to have real life skills when they graduate.
Oh, just realized I wasn't on the screen. Took myself off for some reason. All right. Then we have MTG being anointed by the Fat Homo. It's not over till the Fat Homo sings. He has not sung yet, so I think we're still. It's still up in the air whether the Antichrist rises to power or not. But speaking of one Antichrist, going into another, here is Hillary Clinton. Let's see what she had to say to Condoleezza Rice over on CBS, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some analysis about this whole CBS segment.
If I could just say one thing. I live on a university campus, and I would say to young people, yes, I understand the passion, but also try to understand how hard this is. You know, one of my colleagues asked some of the young people who were yelling from the river to the sea, from what river to what sea, and they did not know. So this is a moment for education also of why this has been hard. And there's plenty of blame to go around, but hopefully we're going to get to the place that Israelis can live in security and can finally be accepted in a region that they, by UN mandate, were given a state. Hopefully, Palestinians will be able one day to govern themselves. But I hope, too, we recognize that there will be ups and downs in this process. There will be provocations. There will be those who try to turn this around. And everybody just now needs to stay the course. And maybe this hopeful day in the Middle East will lead to a hopeful future.
All right, now on to that deep cutting substantive analysis on CBS. Here is my deep cutting analysis. Who fucking cares? Because look right here. For those for the audio people, sorry, but what I'm looking at right now is a picture, a screenshot taken by the Air Force or the America First Post. I always want to say Air Force because AF always means Air Force to me because I was in the Air Force for a decade. But here is from them, and I've seen other people sharing around a screenshot from CBS News live, Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice discussing something, and 145 people watching live. which we had up to 70 today. So I think I'm around, what was it, 150 million Barry Weiss got for CBS. So I think we're dealing with an over $50 million show here today. That's not including Rumble, although I guess, I don't know, I'd have to look at their other ones, but I don't know, we're at least in double-digit millions. So we're killing it, guys. So keep it up. Keep helping bring up the value of the show. Share it around, like all that good stuff, because who fucking cares what Condoleezza Rice or Hillary Clinton are saying anymore? Because apparently I have basically half as much reach. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? What a great world we're living in these days. And that does kind of perfectly tie into my larger Antichrist and how, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get this whole Antichrism or whatever the hell we could call this as an event. It ain't happening. I just don't see it. But they're still going to try to make it. But to kind of, to their credit, they got Muad'Dib on board. They got him, guys. So I might be wrong. I know I kind of scoffed at the Larry Ellisons, getting his hooks into CBS and, pointing his son as like creative director or giving his son creative control, who then appoints Barry Weiss. And, like all this, the Oracle and that Homo Altman, and we all just kind of laugh at them and you're like, but things are getting serious. Barron Trump, guys, apparently he's being considered for a senior leadership role at TikTok. I don't know. I think perhaps the spice will run. I don't know. Perhaps he will overthrow his father, take his rightful position as the Emperor Worm God. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. We have I don't think it'll really be that meaningful, obviously. I'm being a little bit silly, but it is weird. I don't know what to make of that. Barron, there we go. But I know it's very much like this administration, whatever, passing on some money to the family. Can't really blame them too much for it. But yeah, rolling right into Homo Theater for our last bit. Let's see our favorite little cum goblin. Let's see what he has to say about the latest over in Antifa land.
1 month ago today, I witnessed my friend of 10 years, someone who I considered a brother, a loving husband, a devoted father, a generational leader, get assassinated on a live stream by a left-wing radical. Approximately 1 year ago, I witnessed the President of the United States get shot in the head by a left-wing radical, who also took the life of a Trump supporter in front of his daughters and wife. 2 months ago, Christian children kneeling and praying in a church were slaughtered by a left-wing extremist. And 2 weeks ago, federal law enforcement was shot at multiple sniper rounds in a federal facility by a left-wing extremist. If it's happening every single week, is it that extreme? Or has the Democrat Party mainstreamed violence as a political tool? The individual who wrote me described why he wanted me dead. I was a white, cis, Christian Trump supporter. They described in great detail how I would be killed in an open field, just like Charlie, how much blood would come out of my head and neck when it was blown off. This individual described orphaning my 4 beautiful children and widowing my wife with great joy. You might want to say another left-wing radical, another extremist. And to that, I would like to direct your attention to the state of Virginia, where Democrats have nominated and are about to vote for the chief law enforcement officer in that state, a man who has done the exact same thing, an individual who's calling for the assassination by bullets of Republicans that he disagrees with, the killing of their children, the slaughtering of, as he says, little fascists. Are my 4 innocent, beautiful children little fascists? Violence has been mainstreamed by the Democrat Party. It is not extremist, it is mainstream. And we need a moment of reckoning here. This has to stop. This cycle must end. Is any Democrat courageous enough to disavow violence? To call for individuals that espouse these things, like what happened to my family, what's happening in Virginia, to call for those kind of candidates to step down? Will Democrats vote for that?
Call for what candidate? Because I'm confused. What candidates are okay with? I mean, like I'm not a fan of the lefties, but who is okay with this happening? Because I don't know. Let's keep playing this, I guess. But I don't know who is supposedly okay with this happening. I mean, I'm obviously about to make fun of the guy, but like I'm not okay with it. I'm assuming this is a legit thing that happened, which is frankly pretty believable. I mean, if you're a large influencer of this size, you probably. I don't know if I've ever really gone any maybe I've gone like a couple deaths, or I don't know, maybe nothing I cared about because it's like, some stupid fucking no-name account with 2 followers. And it's like, I doubt they're going to actually hunt me down and murder me. Like, okay. And my point being is when you do get a certain size, you do get a certain level. And yeah, if you are, I'm perfectly fine with law enforcement getting you if you're out there threatening to murder influencers and their family. That's not okay. But like, who the fuck is supporting that? And obviously the crux here is the attached, like, and then, the and then, like, okay, all this and then what? Like, what do you want? Okay, do you want this person to be tried and prosecuted? Because I'm all for that. If like, fuck them, you shouldn't be threatening people like that. But like, if you're trying to get some larger RICO charges or something, we're getting into weird territory. Like, unless you can somehow prove that they've in concert or working together and being like, let's all work together to threaten to murder his family. I mean, we're going to get into weird territory where we're going to end up where you're not allowed to harass. And this is where you get into, what is defined as harassing? Like, that's incredibly arbitrary, but, and then coordinated harassing. What's coordinated harassing? That's just a group of people telling you they don't like something about you. And for anyone who's been witnessing Ashton Forbes' absolute crash out, he's been utilizing this exact symptom in X to actually get accounts nuked. Or I don't know if he actually is successful, but trying to by saying targeted harassment because everyone's making fun of him because he's a stupid faggot. So like everyone's making fun of him and organically so, and he's just trying to be like, oh, this is bots, and then even when people prove that's not bots, he's like, well, this is targeted harassment. And how is that any different than what it feels like is being essentially called for occurring, to where people don't like being told they fucking suck? I think there might be some people in positions of power that aren't really fans of being told that, like, hey, we're not fans of you running cover for pedophiles. I don't know. It might grate away a little bit at your ego hearing that every day. But let's keep playing.
If you're voting for that, then implicitly you're encouraging it. You're endorsing it. I don't want political violence. I want peace in my nation. I love this country. I want to be able to debate like Charlie did. I want to be able to raise my family in peace. This is our birthright. But you cannot make peace with evil as a Christian. You cannot unite with people who want you dead. I want unity in this nation. I want to be able to agree on more than what we disagree on. But for that first to happen, we must understand the battle. We are fighting good versus evil, darkness versus light. And good must conquer evil. Do not make peace with evil. To that end, and in conclusion, I would like to thank federal law enforcement, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the FBI, the DOJ, the Tampa Police Department, the detective tier, with absolute pinpoint accuracy, professionalism, courtesy, swift and tact. They were able to act instantly in order to make sure that my family was safe, potentially to preserve the lives of my children, and they're doing that for families all around the country in many different ways. Every American should unite behind that cause. No matter who you are, you should say, this is a country where families should be able to raise their children safely, where people can have peaceful disagreements, where we can all live together under one American flag. I just want to profoundly thank the Trump administration and federal law enforcement and local law enforcement for saving my family. I will never forget it. It is the greatest goodness that has ever been done to me. And that is a thing that every American can get behind. The Trump administration making America safe again. God bless them.
All right, now I will say, though, this seems incredibly dramatic for somebody who's, like, probably received an assortment of death threats in his life just by the size of his, profile. Not making it okay. Don't do that. Fucking awful. And you should probably go to receive some sort of legal consequence of some sort if you're doing those sorts of things. What exactly? I don't know. Probably depends on the severity of whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, not cool. But it does feel like it's attached to a whole other thing. And I also do find it funny that I don't know if these things are necessarily connected. But I mean, as we're, he's saying this dramatic super thing of like, I know it feels like there's this almost implied like, and then we like, get some sort of weird conspiracy charges going against these lefties or something. Well, these lefties have conspired currently to a bunch of nudists apparently surrounded an ICE facility the other day. So that's funny. I don't know. I just find it funny that these are the crazy killers they're going after. And then one last reminder for these actors that are coming out and presenting this information. Just a reminder that, I don't know, Benny Johnson literally, okay, how do I present this without, I don't know, putting my finger on the scale too much? Apparently, one time he wrote a piece about advertising in the Military Times and how woke it had gone. And you can see... for the audio people, I mean, obviously you can't, but this shows two juxtaposed next to each other, or it shows a site, like a screenshot of the site of like the Military Times or whatever, and then it shows on the side the world's largest gay cruise. This is a while back. I think this was back in 2017, so it was 8 years ago. Well, they were doing targeted ads at that point in time, but I think the general public hadn't quite caught on to that. So just throwing that out there. Just thought that was particularly hilarious. I guess he did try to pass it off later as some sort of weird, 3 or 7D joke, next level type shit. But there's also been people who have floated out. Apparently, I think this guy is supposedly, I haven't looked into it enough, but I've seen a lot of people throwing this around. This guy he used to work over at BuzzFeed. This guy, back in the day when Benny Johnson worked at BuzzFeed. Now, if you don't want to go down the gay rumors, I will say if you want to go down the plagiarism rumors, those are legit. Those are legit as fuck. I think Ken covered a piece. So you probably go to headline and type in like Benny Johnson or something. You probably can find that article pretty quick, going into the actual specifics of what a plagiarist piece of shit he is. But here is Saeed Jones, who's a former coworker over at BuzzFeed. He says, I made out with Benny Johnson in an empty dressing room at BuzzFeed holiday party in 2013. It haunts me this day. Anyway, it's funny that he's done literally everything but come out of the closet. Men will literally become traitors to their country rather than go to therapy. Now, obviously, I will admit that last sentence, 2 sentences, definitely come off as a little bit jilted politically. So perhaps this is just coming from a bad place politically, but there have been all sorts of rumors between Benny and Mike Johnson for a while. There was a good one that I meant to hunt for this for you guys, but there was one from Milo where he basically straight up said, he was like, I can't remember how he said it, but he said in a way of like, oh, some influencer that starts with B and ends with Y, and then he gave out a bunch of other like stuff where who it is, and he's like basically saying that I guess it's some big political thing recently. He was banging some dude while his wife was crying downstairs or some craziness. So there's rumors. So just saying, when you're dealing with these people, there's other stuff going on sometimes. And I don't know. It at least brightens my day and makes me laugh. I don't know whether he's gay or not, but I love spreading the rumor around just because it's fun. And I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look good. It ain't looking good. The Military Time ones is funny. Maybe more will come out. I wouldn't be surprised. I still haven't heard any follow-up on the Mike Johnson Grindr story. I wouldn't be surprised if that one was bullshit. But it has been, I think it was the New York Times that reported on that weird app that we talked about on Nick Bryant that him and his son have. So we have some weird characters lording above us. So be careful buying any of the fucking narratives being thrown down to you, because there's some fucking weirdos, and leverage is the thing. So, all right, guys, let's get out of here. It's been a little long tooth. I need to get out of here anyways. Let me poke the chat, see if there's anything interesting in there before we get out. But I think that is it for today, guys. Make sure to hit like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. Those are all ways you can help support the show. The show is also found on YouTube, also on Rumble. You can find this anywhere podcasts are at. It also goes out on X, so any of those things help boost the show. If you want to support the show in the best way you can, QR code up here, or go to patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. You get access to early episodes there. I usually do about 1 to 2 a week. Keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. Access to access to the Telegram. Access to the why am I fucking this up? Telegram. Access to the ad-free RSS feed. That's what I forgot. Also, you get access to the pre-show, post-show, and video calls from me and Austin's weekly live call-in show. Also, give a big shout out to my sponsors. That's my highest level over at Patreon, to give a big thanks for everything they do. Every episode, I have a previous co-host on Entire Gang, at Learn Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZOVRCK, at _ Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus, Yellow Polka Dot Dress, and Mark Vestibule. And with that, guys, we're going to go get out of here. I hope you guys like this outro I have for you guys today. This is from Faceless. This is dad lore. Start crafting your dad lore now. This ties into my weekend. My kid got a hat trick this weekend. Fuck yeah. My kid's cooler than yours. But yeah, instead of making your dad lore before you get a dad, make your dad lore before and during. Make sure to stay a beast. That way your kids always have something to look up to. You can't ever let them be better than you. You always got to be better than them. So keep on being fucking awesome, people. Dads, go be fucking awesome. Go run, go work out, go get smart, go do whatever it is you got to do to impress your little kiddos, because you don't ever fucking want them to get better than you. And the reason why is so that one day they can be better than you. But you don't want that better than you to be like not that great. You need to make yourself like fucking phenomenal. That way when your kid's better than you, they're like a fucking, great of all time. But with that, guys, love you all. Enjoy this outro. Go become the best dad or mom you can be. Love you all. Enjoy this outro. Bye-bye.